The new giant helicopter of the United States is finally ready for action. This beast is not your average helicopter. It is a bulletproof giant capable of carrying a complete squad of armed paratroopers. Its composite armor is specially designed to make it impenetrable, and its 3 lethal miniguns make it a true Terminator among helicopters. This helicopter is not for the faint-hearted. Even its own crew jokes darkly about it, as an hour in this monster costs a staggering $20,000 more than what you would pay to fly around the world. But the creation of this beast was no accident. Large aircraft existed before it, but all were obsolete, and the emerging enemy technology required a more modern transport. In 1967, the United States Marine Corps set out to create a vehicle with a cargo capacity almost double that of any existing helicopter, a whopping 35 pounds, which is more capacity than any truck. Sikorsky Aircraft Company, which was already working on improving its legendary SH-53D, responded immediately to the call. The new intention would receive a third turboshaft engine, a more powerful main rotor system, modern electronics, and additional armament. With all these improvements, this helicopter has become the most powerful transport there is, and no enemy base can withstand its assault. But its power comes at a cost, and even its own crew has felt the fear it instills. Imagine the unthinkable. Other companies could only dream of something like this. At that time, Sikorsky presented its design to the Balinese under the designation S-80. They liked the idea because it promised to provide exactly the type of helicopter they were looking for. So they financed the development of a prototype helicopter, but few knew they were creating the most impressive helicopter in history. The company was plagued by major problems from the outset of the project and faced fierce competition. The company was simultaneously creating its own version of the cargo helicopter called Vertol XCH-62. As you can imagine, a manufacturer as large as Sikorsky with an abundance of funding and resources had a significant advantage over its smaller competitor. The Secretary of Defense of the United States even tried to prevent Sikorsky from developing its aircraft by demanding that only the option of a point be considered. However, brave Navy sailors came to the rescue, demonstrating that the Navy helicopter was too large to be used on landing ships, thus opening up space for the newcomer to complement its project. A uniquely developed titanium alloy was chosen as the material for the skin. A similar concept was being produced for the Blackbird. If you're interested, this alloy allows the helicopter to defend itself against machine guns, shrapnel, and even some missiles and projectiles. The new gigantic helicopter of the United States was finally ready for action. The cockpit and cargo compartment also had to be carefully designed. The helicopter was made to be completely enclosed on all sides, and bulletproof glass was installed to protect the pilot. Once all the problems were resolved, the CH-53C Super Stallion flew for the first time and caused a sensation. Its enormous size was impressive, to say the least. We're talking about something huge. In fact, it was a flying truck in its own right, the only helicopter in the world capable of lifting heavy equipment. Its total cargo capacity approaches 16 tons, and at one point, they managed to load an 8-wheeled LAG-25 and a 155mm M198 with ammunition and personnel. Let me remind you that up to that point, only airplanes that are much less convenient to operate for such purposes had been used. And if you need to transport troops, no problem. The Super Stallion can transport up to 64 armed fighters at once. Thanks to its third engine, the helicopter is much more powerful than any of its predecessors, capable of reaching speeds of up to 190 miles per hour and climbing to an altitude of 20,000 feet. It's quite a strange experience to see a giant of this magnitude at such speed. Its flight range is equally impressive, capable of flying up to 620 miles with a full gas tank. But that's not all. The helicopter is equipped with a retractable refueling unit, and as long as there's a tanker aircraft nearby, its journey can be extended worldwide. This giant is armed with 3 6-barrel minigun-type machine guns that could shred any enemy aircraft, tank, or fortified position. In special situations, instead of thermal traps, the CH-53C also has a flare release system that can be used for defense against missiles. This is a monster among helicopters. You would think it would be the perfect weapon for the United States military. But of course, this beast is not without its problems, and they have had serious consequences. To start with, the third engine installed to increase power proved to be unreliable and often failed in mid-flight. Larger fuel tanks and therefore a significantly greater flight range. The Dragon is primarily intended to tow a variety of equipment as well as detect and destroy sea mines through detonation. Its improved digital system also allows for much more comfortable flight control. In fact, the Japanese government was so impressed with this version that it immediately purchased 11 Dragons for its naval forces. But the President of the United States kept the Stallion on his favorites list. He liked it so much that he wanted one for himself. This version was called the VX-53F. It was supposed to be a kind of small private air fortress. But in the end, the idea of creating a new model was abandoned in favor of simply using the models currently in service. The Stallion and the Dragon are the largest helicopters in the Western world. They have gained incredible popularity and have exceeded all expectations. Approximately 180 of these helicopters are still in service in the Marine Corps, but time is taking its toll. It has been reported that every flight hour requires 40 hours of maintenance due to its aged parts, lack of available spare parts, and an increase in the overall life of the mechanisms. With high fuel consumption and all these defects in mind, it is estimated that only one flight hour costs around $20,000. With numbers like these, it's obvious that a new helicopter is needed to replace the old ones, and that's exactly what is being developed right now. An updated version of the CH-53K will be even larger than its predecessors. This giant will receive a plethora of changes in its technology and hardware. First and foremost, it will have a new display system with night vision and an infrared thermal imager for effective operation at any time of the day. The redesigned and reinforced engines will not only eliminate the constant threat of fire, but also allow the helicopter to accelerate to 236 miles per hour. And of course, the upgraded heavy caliber GAV-21 and M3P machine guns will add even more power to an already intimidating machine. This beauty will be in service for at least another 10 years and will proudly carry the honor and glory of being the largest helicopter in the world. We hope you have enjoyed the information we have provided and have learned something new about this incredible machine. If you have any questions or comments on the topic, don't hesitate to write them in the comments section. We would love to hear your opinion and answer your questions. If you liked the video, don't forget to subscribe to our Militartechzone channel and activate the notification bell to receive updates on our upcoming videos.